Hi, everyone. Amanda Roy here from the Greater Hartford Arts Council. I am the Director of Equitable Arts Advancement here at the organization, and today we are talking about New Voices, the New Voices Fellowship, and I am here with Tiana, Correa, one of our recent alumni from the program and a creative and active participant in the Hartford art scene. She'll be here with us today. But to get us started, just want to talk a little bit about what is New Voices? What is this program? So New Voices is a fellowship program that is immersed in diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and justice. To begin the program, 10 arts organizations participated in a diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and justice, what we call DEIAJ cohort program, to learn about the importance of including DEIAJ in all aspects of the organization. And then the second part is to bring on aspiring arts administrators of color to participate in the ins and outs of what those organizations do. So Tiana is here with us today to talk about what that experience was like. Hey, Tiana.
Hello, Amanda. Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here. So we're going to get started talking to you about who are you? Who is Tiana? Let us know what you're all about, your creative side, and then we're going to get into the fellowship piece right after that.
Awesome. Yeah, so I am Tiana Correa. So I actually reside in Bloomfield, Connecticut. I grew up in the Greater Hartford area, originally living in Hartford and then kind of bounced around, but now I reside in Bloomfield and I am an aspiring photographer.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. And we're going to get into that photography because I know you were able to incorporate a little bit of that side of you into the fellowship that you did with the Justice Dance Performance Project. So let us know, what did you do with who we call JDPP, the Justice Dance Performance Project?
Yeah, so I actually was able to work closely with Judy Doran and her ensemble for really a good amount of time. And so when I was there, I actually was able to get to know the ensemble, get to know the organization, and then actually create some marketing material for the upcoming shows. So Justice Dance Performance Project was a really beautiful organization because they really pride themselves on just community engagement and like environmental activism. And so it was really cool coming in as a photographer to kind of have that eye and be able to watch them do all of their performances and practices from inception all the way until the performance time. And I was able to catch a lot of behind the scenes of their practices and how it is that they engage as a group, and even watching Judy and her leadership. So it was a really good opportunity for me to kind of step in and be a little bit of a fly on the wall, as well as just kind of participate and feel like a member of the group for that time.
And what's it feel like to be a creative in the behind the scenes of an organization? Because a lot of the general public, they see the outcome of the work that happens within an organization. What's it like to see the inside and to have a creative mind coming in and getting to know what goes on behind the scenes?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is sometimes when you think about marketing, right, you kind of think of a certain vision, a certain look and feel that you're trying to kind of convey. But I think being behind the scenes, I actually got to know the ensemble and realize that they're actually really real. Like their connection isn't a joke, like they actually collaborate, they actually get along with each other. And it was actually really cool to see how Judy Doran's leadership and the way in which she kind of coordinates the ensemble and the dance and choreographies was a lot more of a collaboration with the entire ensemble, and like the dynamic of the members there. You have young, you have older dancers, you have dancers that are just passionate about Judy and like following her legacy. So like the dynamic was just really cool because it wasn't just your typical dance group getting together and just reciting the choreography that was given to them. It's actually a collaborative effort, and they get in touch with the environment. I mean, it was just really cool because their first performance that we did was actually in Farmington River Park, where there was the presence of the trees. They were dancing amongst the trees. Like it was just like, I've seen performances on stages, but then to actually see a performance in the park amongst the trees, that was behind the scenes, like, yeah, they actually were connected to the trees. So I don't think you necessarily get how that comes together unless you're behind the scenes and get that extra scoop.
Yeah, I got to see the
Hmm.
final outcome of that. It was really fantastic just to
Hmm.
see the colors and the movement, and you just felt
Hmm.
like you were immersed in something. So it had to be really cool to be on the inside of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the fact that, they do it by season. So, I came in while they were getting ready for their autumn, production, and then they go on to winter, and kind of seeing how they even created their costumes, and thinking about how costumes really was as relevant as the leaves, and the movement and what those things like. It's just so many different pieces that I don't necessarily think I would have thought of unless it is that I got the experience that I did.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of surprises to what happens,
Mhm.
right?
For
Yeah. Oh,
sure.
that's awesome. And going into something like this, is it what you thought it would be? Is arts administration what you thought it would be? You have had a taste of what it's like to organize events because you have been involved in the Greater Hartford Festival of Jazz in the past. But going into this fellowship position and being with Justice Dance Performance Project for 3 months, was it what you expected arts administration would look like?
So honestly, I went in really open-minded because when I heard new voices of color, I was a little bit skeptical, if I'm being like completely honest, because I was like, what's the expectation here? Is it that, wanting a member of color to kind of come into an organization that might be predominantly white and expect that I'm supposed to be like the voice for all Black people? And I was a little bit nervous because I was like, I hope that's not the expectation. But then when I actually got there, it wasn't that. I was able to kind of come in and just be an artist and just be able to really say what I wanted. And I think that was the biggest thing is I had the opportunity to just advocate for what I wanted to get out of the program, right? And being able to share what my goals as an artist was and aligning myself with the mission with the organization that they already do. So it was a really good collaboration that I was grateful for, and it definitely exceeded my expectation because I thought that there's no other organization that could ever be better than the Jazz Fest, and like I fell in love. It was awesome.
That's great. That's great. And you mentioned something, Tiana. You mentioned advocating for what you wanted to get out of the fellowship. I think that can be really hard for people to speak up, and especially coming into something new. How'd that feel? Just wondering
Yeah.
what that was like to. I mean, it seems like you felt like you had a space where you could do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it was interesting because I think just transitioning from a corporate setting, that was one of my own personal missions. So I think just as an artist in general, you kind of have to know what it is that you want and what it is that you're looking for and recognize when things are not aligned with what it is that you wanted. There was an aspect of the fellowship that was more so okay, you're gonna be behind a desk at one point and kind of doing some entry. And I chimed in. I was like, yeah, no, I'd actually love to, as long as you allow me to go to practices. And so that was an element that they actually incorporated for me. That wasn't necessarily what they had in mind going in. So I think it's just really understanding what your passions are as an artist, and then being able to apply the administrative component too, and making it your own. But you have to be willing to create that voice and not just go with the flow just because someone's telling you to do so.
Great, awesome.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
maybe this leads me to my final question. I would say, if the New Voices program comes back again, what advice would you give to a future fellow about going into this program based on your experience?
Absolutely. Go in completely open minded. I mean, like, what do you have to lose, in my opinion, right? You're either going to learn something or you're going to gain something even better. And I think that was my experience that it's like, don't be afraid to advocate for what you want and lead with your passions and be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing is, be yourself.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Tiana. Thanks for taking time to be with us today, talk about New Voices. We're glad you were a part of the program.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.